Kind of do a daily update. I got my big list here of a lot of momentum stocks that are pretty popular in the social media groups, and there's quite a few of them here. I'm not going to go through them all. We had some pretty good moves in some of these today, but this is the biggest gainer, HUGE. Let's see. This thing's trying to form an uptrend line. So this looks interesting. We've got some resistance right here at 295. We had this big blow off, almost like a blow off top here. And I'm not sure why today. If today finished positive 15% up, why we have a big red candle? That's weird. RIOT, this looks bullish. Riot blockchain, this is bullish. Trending pretty good here. Looks like we're reacting to the 50 moving average. So I think the 50 moving average is a buy opportunity. And the cloud. So this continues to look bullish. MARA, Marathon Digital, this is bullish too. This is holding up, this trend is holding up pretty good. We have had the moving average cross here, but price is above them both, so I would expect for this to turn up and cross again. Nice reaction to the 50 period moving average here. So MARA looks bullish. We got a little resistance right here at this this highest point at 47.30. I'm just looking at some of the top gainers here today. CAN, Canon Incorporated, pretty bullish here. I don't like chasing momentum, so I wouldn't be opening a new position right here, but if you're in it, rock and roll. So we're holding pretty good to the Tinkinson line right here, but we're getting overextended. We're moving pretty far from the 50 and the cloud. It looks overextended and more at risk of a pullback. Let's see where this came from. I like to look at some of these long term because, you know, it's like, does this look like a buying opportunity to you, or was it down here? So this was flat for a long time down here. Kind of came to life and was seeing some resistance from this range here. So here was your resistance level. And once it broke, this thing just shot. So it's still bullish. Don't like the idea of chasing momentum, so I wouldn't put on a trade right here. There's plenty of other stocks to trade, so if something's already left without me, then they can just go. I'll go do something else. This is kind of a choppy mess. SOS here. There's a mixture of signals going on here with resistance. There's been some technical damage here. Okay, we had the TK cross and price has kind of been trending below the Tinkinson. Right here we got above it, but Tinkinson's still curving down. And we've got this resistance area here, which lines up pretty close with the Kijinson line. So this is resistance at about 850. See how we're reacting to it here? Boom, we bounced off. Boom, we bounced off. So I'd want to see this above 850 and this Tinkinson curving up. Price above Tinkinson, Kijinson for that to rock and roll. I wouldn't be buying this right here. I think you're you're asking for trouble. NNDM, this thing had a huge sell-off. TK cross, oversold bounce. Now we're reacting to the cloud and the downtrending Kijinsen line. So I would not be going long on this right now. This is, if anything, a selling opportunity. If you like bottom fishing, then I would go to a fast momentum 30-minute chart, and you can play the TK cross on a 30-minute chart or a break above the cloud. So right here we had a TK cross. You see how we reacted to the cloud? We climbed down the wall, and then all of a sudden, boom, we bust a move and get above it. So I think this would have been a better buy signal than this TK cross. Break above the cloud, and now you watch your orientation of your Kijinsen lines. Right here they kind of intertwine, but we had a huge bullish candle right here. So if you're just playing a fast momentum pullback, then I would say this is starting to die out. Okay, right here we had a TK cross and we went into the cloud. So if I was just trading a fast momentum pullback, this is where I would have got out. So around this TK cross, you start getting price trending below your moving average lines and dropping into the cloud like this. That's where you get out. And we bounced off the bottom. Now we're testing the top. I would say the high probability trade here is for this to go back down, but it just depends on market sentiment, you know. So sometimes we'll get a really bullish day and it'll just cause this to break out, and that does well for the chart, and then it can stay healthy a little longer. UWMC. Okay, we're looking at a 30-minute chart here. That's why it's a choppy mess. Don't like this. This is bearish, very bearish. Huge bearish engulfing candle right here when we tested the cloud. So I don't like that. IDEX. Not a fan of this stock. Take a look at the long-term trend here, and we're kind of at the top of the range. See? So this was a fast momentum trade. I don't see this as being a good investment here. Very speculative. I mean, if you want to try and invest in something with a chart like this, then like I say, it's just a very, very speculative play. You're basically hoping for a miracle, in my opinion. So I would not be in this right now. Price looks bearish, down below the cloud, downtrending. Kijinsen, Kijinsen's curving over. Moving average lines are flattening out. Key resistance right here at the bottom of the cloud, this flat line. You can see where we tried to test it here. DraftKings has been pretty strong. I kind of like this chart. Nice uptrend line here. I've been watching this since early on, and just not quite sure about it, so I've stayed away. But now that I see this trend line developing, I think buy orders down along this trend line are working. So if we can get a sell-off and get it down here, down around $59, $60, I wouldn't mind buying it there and see what it does, because that gives you a pretty tight line in the sand. So if your trend line doesn't hold, then you're not suffering bigger losses as if you bought it up here and all of a sudden something goes wrong, and then you don't figure it out till you're clear down here. It's like, oh well, now we're bearish and I got in clear up here. So like I say, there's just so many stocks in the universe. You don't have to have this one right now unless you want to chase it and take that risk, but I don't like taking that much risk, but it does look like a good stock. electric vehicle stocks, battery stocks have been getting, I think there's a lot of technical damage done, and I think that they're going to trend down over some time now. Tesla, this kind of surprised me today. We made another up move, but we're still testing this resistance right here. We got some resistance right here at about 705, and then there's the key resistance up here at 760. I would want to see Tesla above 760 again for the party to continue. Nikola, I would stay out of this unless you can short it. This descending channel is yuck. I drew this arrow right here because it took a big rally, and I wrote a post in one of the Facebook groups to sell this move, and people are like, "You're crazy! This is great! We're going to the moon." Well, do you see the descending channel? So watch out. And it did respond to that descending channel. So, but these channels can't be broken, and this doesn't just go on forever. So there's going to come a time where this is going to bottom. But looking at the history of the chart, it's just, this is nothing I'm interested in trading. Unless I could short it. If it does one of these again, I short it. And if it doesn't respond, then you take a minimum amount of loss compared to the possible gains you can make. Snapchat, I haven't looked at that one in a long time. This looks pretty bullish. That's not a bad looking chart. Snapchat. Kind of choppy here. We had a TK cross, but we responded to the cloud, so that's kind of positive. I would look for these to cross again. We're getting a little bit of a bearish twist right here. It's just this was the correction we just had, so slight risk of a head and shoulders top right here. So I don't know. This has had a big run since the COVID crash. But it looks like a lot of other stocks that have corrected and lost some momentum. So, but it's still above the cloud. So technically, when you're above the cloud, you look for buying opportunities. Gevo looks a lot like what was the other one we just looked at? Clean energy, electric vehicle stocks. They look very similar. Actually, we did look at Gevo already. Okay. Neo, this one was strongly favored by the market, and I think it just went up way too fast. But these were some nice buy opportunities where we came down and tested the 50 or the cloud. Nice trend. You can get into something like this on a daily chart, and you just hold it as long as it stays above the cloud. You would have captured some really nice gains with this. But now we're below the cloud. We're reacting to this resistance level here from downtrending Kijinsen. So it looks like this is rolling over and going to continue down. Tilray, kind of up in the air about this. I had a short position. I closed it because we're back on top of the Tinkinson. And now we're kissing the cloud here. Straight up thin cloud usually does not provide support. So I think price is just going to move right through it. We're going to look for prices to stay on top of the Tinkinson to stay bullish. But we do have some pretty stiff resistance right up here at about $37. So if you're going to go long on this, I would come down to the lower time frame. And this is actually looking kind of bullish on the lower time frame. We came below the cloud, back up in it. We got an uptrending Tinkinson. We're getting ready to have a Tinkinson cross. We'll see what happens right here. Either we're going to get rejected from this downtrending Kijinsen, or we're going to follow Kijinsen up here and get a cross, get back above the cloud. Could be a great party. But I'm not a fan of this stock, but it's pretty unpredictable. There's some pretty bullish sentiment going on there. Just It's just a matter if there's still enough buyers to keep it moving. And this big red candle here, this hangman candle or shooting star, whatever you want to call it, this is a very bearish signal here. Huge bearish engulfing candle. This candle is bigger than 6 or 8 of these. So I don't like this long term. Like I say, resistance right here, so maybe a short fast momentum trade if you can get one. Too many other stocks to look at to mess with that, in my opinion. Let's see what's going on with ExxonMobil, because a lot of people were saying buy oil, buy oil. Still bullish. We've actually dropped below the Tinkinson now. It looks like this is cooling off a little bit. We're too far from the cloud to buy it right here. I wouldn't recommend chasing it right here. It's up too much. And this is another one of those where when you look at the long-term picture, I just don't like it. Don't like that. This has been in a downtrend for quite a while. Took a huge oversold bounce, or way oversold here. Tried to recover, went back down, and now I feel we're overbought. These things can surprise, though. This could come all the way back up to the top of this $75 range here. So I don't chase them like that here. I've gotten to where I've been burned so many times that I am just very cautious, very careful with these things. If you're going to trade it, you keep a tight leash on it. Let's look at a 30-minute chart. Yep, see, we've fallen below the cloud on the 30-minute chart. And we had a pretty good party here for a while. And we came down below here, but this looks a lot different than that. See how we just kind of hugged the bottom of the cloud here, and then boom, it got back up. We're trending below the cloud right here. So I think this needs to burn off some. I think this needs to sell off a bit. Weekly chart. So this gives a little bit different perspective. If you look at a weekly chart, we've broken above the cloud here. We're getting a bullish twist. Maybe a pullback to this Tinkinson line is in order. Or maybe even come back and test this cloud. Quite often, if you have a breakout like this, price will come back and try to test the cloud again. It may or may not quite get there, but we got the Tinkinson, and then bounce again from here. So possible pullback to about $54 is what I'm just guesstimating here. Don't really try to predict the future. I just try to figure out what the chart is telling me. So a couple trades that I'm in that were actually read today. This ZOM. Let's go back to a daily chart. I actually like this. I still like this chart. We're starting to get the TK cross here, and we're staying pretty close to the Tinkinson line. We've still got the 50 is acting as support. It's support until it's not. Okay, so we have to assume it's going to bounce at the 50 again. That's coming up. So this wedge pattern that I was watching, I was expecting a breakout. That kind of failed. So we got resistance right here at the top of these candles. I need a sip of water. So that's a little bit of resistance right here. And it's normal to react to that. It doesn't mean that the party's over. It just means we had a reaction, and we're probably going to try it again. The more times the price knocks on the door, the more likely it is to get through. So we'll just see how this goes. Just keep an eye on the chart pattern. Be patient. We have to be patient with these things. It just doesn't just go to the moon just because you bought it because it looked good. This one I actually have a short sell position in, and some news came out which worked out pretty well. It looks like we tested this oversold area and we kind of bounced back up. So we'll see what happens now. It should continue down. We got downtrending pressure from this Tinkinson line, which we've closed below that Tinkinson line now. We've closed below the 200 moving average, and after hours it traded up 0.61%. Here's another one that I just bought because I kind of like this chart pattern. We're back on top of Tinkinson. We're on top of the 50. We got a couple of kind of doji candles here. So I'm going to see what happens with this. I want to see the price attempt to follow this Tinkinson line up. This is just going to be a short little momentum trade because we got some resistance right up here. So this is just kind of an experimental trade, really. I want to experiment with this trade, and what better way to do it than just to get in it, right? Let's look at a 30-minute chart. Okay, this still looks bullish. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We actually traded up 1%, 1.19% after hours. So this still looks bullish, a little bit chop here, a little overextended. So that's what we did here as we took this nice jump up, a little overextended, sold off, and we may try to recover here. Penny stock, it's hard to read charts on penny stock sometimes. Kodak. This isn't looking too good. Yeah, it's bearish. This chart doesn't appeal to me at all. We had this huge spike up on news back here, and it just burned off, and it's just been the consolidation range. So here's the top of the range right here at about $14, and the bottom of the range is right down here at about $670, $650. So we're just kind of range bound here, and right now we're below the cloud. Oh, this doesn't interest me. One interesting thing, okay, we got this 200 moving average. When we had this huge spike, it created some uptrending moving averages. And we've got that coming right here. But we've got these coming in almost like they're going to cross. So you get the 100 crossing the 200 moving average going down. And don't quote me on this, but I believe that's what they call the death cross. Okay, I wouldn't mess with this stock. HYLN, bearish. Trending down. So one thing we want to look for when we're watching for a bottom is, well, to confirm that we're still going down, we're seeing lower highs, and we want to see lower lows. So it might take a while to create this lower low again, unless we get a great big red day. So this is just kind of normal here. We're still trending down. FORD, I don't really follow this one much. I put it in my list because they talk about it a lot, but this is bearish. We just passed through, we're following Tinkinson down. We just passed through the 50 moving average and entered the cloud like it wasn't even there. Well, actually, we did react right here. Okay, we reacted like this. Normally get a reaction, and now we're starting to fail. So what you want to see is you want to see a reaction, and then a nice continued follow through. And I'm not seeing follow through. What I'm seeing is follow through with this downtrend that we got going on here. You see that? Okay, so that's bearish. Anything else you want to look at? I got a lot of tickers here, but So I think that's good for now. Let's see. My top picks. Uh-oh. I don't want that. Come over here. Let's see what was some of the big winners were Amazon. See, Amazon's bearish too, but we had a pretty nice candle today, but we're bumping into resistance here. So I thought that I think that Amazon's way oversold. I don't own it right now. I missed the opportunity to get in. Um, I was in for a while, and then I got out of it, and I missed this rally, and I don't chase momentum. So once it did this move right here and got so far extended above the cloud, I just thought to myself, well, I missed it. I don't chase. This would have been a buy opportunity, but you just don't know. So I don't chase these things, so I let that go. I'd like to see it pull back down to this trend line here. Clear back down around 26, 2700. Don't know if we're going to get there. We're kind of consolidating here. So sometimes the stock will just consolidate until it finds that trend line again. See what it did right here? Just consolidated, then all of a sudden, oh, well, there's the trend line. It's time to party. So I think that's what we're doing here right now. I'm not interested in buying this right here. Plenty of other stocks to own. Facebook, that made a move today. Oh, look, we were just talking about this yesterday, this descending channel, or this descending wedge, and today we broke above it. This could break out. Facebook could break out here. Let's watch for some follow through. We see some follow through, another green candle here above this wedge, and I think this party could go to 300, to this previous high, 305. Yeah, there's been a shift in sentiment. I think money's coming out of more speculative stocks and going to come back into some of these cyclicals and blue chips. McDonald's is breaking out. This chart's kind of we had a nice breakout here and then pulled back, kind of consolidation, and it looks like now we're breaking out again. So I just read something in the news this morning that some rating firms are bullish on cyclical stocks, these blue chips. D.R. Horton, I love the home builders. This looks overextended, but I'm actually in Pulte Home. PHM is the one I'm in. Micron, nice rally. I'm in that one. Square, like to own it, but I don't like to chase. This could be a buy opportunity here. My put on position was Square and watch for it to at least hold this 100-period moving average. We've come back down close to it. So note to self, I think I'm going to open a position in Square tomorrow. I like this stock. A little bit of a risk of head and shoulders here, but it's not really that, that pronounced, and it's a nice looking trend. So General Motors, coming up on 30 minutes, so I'm going to wrap up here in a minute. General Motors has surprised me. I pointed out a while back and put in a double top, but it hasn't reacted like all the other clean energy stocks. This is a beast of its own. It hasn't had a big rollover under the cloud like NIO and some of the electric car stocks. So this is looking strong. I think you're kind of chasing here, but we just broke resistance. Okay. So here is your line in the sand for your trade, this resistance. It came down, we tested it here and bounced again. So that's a pretty solid signal. You break resistance, come down, test it, and bounce again. I like this stock. GM looks good. Toll Brothers, another home builder. A little extended, but nice stock. Nice looking trend, a little overextended here. Nvidia, that's another one I wanted to own that just got away from me. And it's had a nice pullback, hasn't it? I'm not really liking what I see in this chart, though. This green line, this is the bottom of the consolidation range where it looked like a buy opportunity. Here comes the 200 moving average. Nice V-shaped bounce. This could be a buy opportunity here too. I think some of these, see how overextended we are compared to the, the rising trend line. But you know, this is just something I drew, and sometimes you need to redraw these things because we had one crazy trend here, pull back, and now we're getting another crazy trend, and then a pullback. So that trend line is not all that reliable. I like this support line that I put in right here because we had this consolidation, and we didn't really want to seem to get any lower than that. And big V-shaped bounce. This was a correction we just had. So we tried to sell off pretty hard. Boom, we bounce. So I like Nvidia too. I'm going to have to start making some notes here. So I think that's about it for now. Costco, I pointed out, I thought was a buy opportunity. We're kind of bouncing off some downtrending resistance here. And we're trapped between Tinkinson and Keachinson. But what I like about this stock is just the long-term trend. It's just a beautiful trend. I mean, just the kind of thing that I like to own. And you know, I don't mind it cooling off. I don't need the money right away. I just own it. All right, I'm going to cut it off for now. That's 32 minutes. I went a little long, so covered a lot of stocks, and I hope this helps you guys to learn to analyze these things yourselves. Compile some big watch lists, and be selective about what you trade. You know, don't just chase momentum and jump on everything that springs up out of the box. It's just reckless trading. And manage your trades with rules. Use the technical levels to create rules. So, all right, that's it for now.